Israelis rally for hostages in Gaza, hoping it will be the last time. At a Tel Aviv rally, Israelis thanked President Trump for the ceasefire that paved the way for release of the remaining hostages. They were less enthused about their own country's leader. Israelis turned out in multitudes on Saturday to rally for the release of the hostages in Gaza, and they left no doubt about whom they credited for the captives' imminent return. "Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Trump," the crowds filling the Tel Aviv plaza known as Hostages Square chanted in English as Steve Witkoff, President Trump's Middle East envoy, spoke from the podium, flanked by Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, Mr. Trump's daughter and son-in-law. Mr. Witkoff spoke emotionally about the families of the hostages, saying their courage had affected him in ways he had never been before. "I dreamed of this night," he said, alluding to the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas that he and Mr. Kushner helped negotiate, and that provides for the release of the hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners by Monday. "I only wish the president was here," Mr. Witkoff added in his address, which was broadcast live on Israeli television. "He would love this." Israelis have rallied in the thousands on Saturday nights for most of the past 2 years, demanding that all the captives still held in Gaza be brought back now. Those filling the square and the surrounding streets on Saturday night were hoping that this rally might be the last. Under the terms of the ceasefire deal, which came into effect at noon Friday, all living hostages in Gaza should be returned to Israel within 72 hours. Israel believes that 20 of the hostages held by Hamas are still alive. "Our struggle is not over and will not end until the last hostage returns home," said the Hostages Families Forum, an organization that has advocated for a hostage deal throughout the war and represents many of their families. "The entire nation holds its breath in anticipation of the hostages' return," the group added. Rallies were also taking place at other locations around Israel, including in a square in Jerusalem near the residence of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. In contrast to the enthusiasm and gratitude shown to Mr. Trump and his aides, however, the crowd in Tel Aviv greeted Mr. Witkoff's attempts to thank Mr. Netanyahu for his role in the ceasefire effort with loud boos. Just weeks ago, Mr. Netanyahu criticized protesters who called for an end of the war and a deal to release the hostages, accusing them of hardening Hamas's stance and pushing off the captives' return. Critics of the Prime Minister have accused him, in turn, of prolonging the war to appease his far-right political allies on whose support he relies to stay in power. As part of the deal, the remains of hostages who died in captivity in Gaza would also be released. But it will most likely take longer for all the deceased hostages to be located and returned to Israel, according to the Israeli authorities. The government has said that the remains of 26 hostages are believed to still be in Gaza, while the condition of 2 other people has not been confirmed. They are among the roughly 250 who were abducted during the Hamas-led attack on Israel on October 7, 2023, which killed about 1,200 people and ignited the war. In the months preceding the ceasefire deal, many Israelis said they were despondent and doubtful about whether the weekly rallies were having any effect on the government. But many showed up nevertheless, saying that, if nothing else, they wanted to keep the hostages on the public agenda and support the captives' families, assuring them that they were not alone. "We understood that there wasn't enough discourse about the hostages. We understood that we have to stand by the families," said Yael Elras Shapira, 57, an organizational psychologist who has attended most of the rallies. "The least we could do was to show solidarity," she said on Saturday as she was on her way to the square. Ms. Elras Shapira added that seeing other people each week who also felt it was important to be there had given her hope and a feeling that the long polarized country could begin to heal. The rallies did not go unnoticed by Mr. Trump, who in September announced a proposal to end the war that led to the ceasefire agreement. He appeared flattered by the appeals of demonstrators, who increasingly focused on him and his leadership as their only hope to get their loved ones home, with many holding banners that called for his personal intervention.